Hey everybody, Elizabeth Varian here. Let me get this out of my way. We are going to not be doing Facebook Lives for a while. I've been staying quite late and everyone's schedule is so all over the place that I thought we'll return to them at a later date, and we've been having all the technical difficulties. And then in the morning I have the get up and wake up difficulties. So let's go with the flow, and as Abraham Hicks says, instead of swimming upstream, let's swim downstream, which is much easier. So I'm still going to do the teachings. I'm not going away in that mode. But I'm just going to pre-record them. Even though technically it's 6 o'clock, I could have waited another hour. It's better, and I can maybe get my butt to the gym. Yay! So the topic we're going to cover tonight, I think, is very relevant on a very regular basis. The problem with being a teacher of the laws of manifestation is the universe tends to like to bring good lessons for me to teach you that I don't necessarily always want to go through. But it was easy to figure out what to teach on because April really did lend itself experientially for this topic, which is let it go and be present. It's such a difficult topic. You know, when I started teaching, I taught on the laws of allowing immediately because it's one of the most difficult laws to shift to. You have to release. Oh, now I'm giving you my baby. I created it. I sat and magnetized it and energized my magnet for attraction, and I've pondered it and I'm in love with it, and now you got to give it away. You know, you got to release the baby to get it back in full child, right? And that's not necessarily what we're talking about today, but it does fall under the law of allowing. And, you know, let's kind of just jump in. Again, as I did before, I really went and covered a lot of the scripting very detailed so I didn't miss anything and get completely off topic. So let's jump right into let it go and be present. So, okay, you've set your intentions or created them. You've magnetized your attraction. And then life experiences happen that don't feel good. What? Wait a minute, Elizabeth, you said I could manifest anything. So typically I go through a checklist when, life events start happening, and especially if they start consistently showing up, I really start paying attention. And, the checklist is what I'm experiencing that doesn't feel good. Is it a limiting belief? Is there worry or fear or negative emotions that I'm compiling around it? Or that I have started experiencing, we can blame hormones as women, we can blame whatever, but am I conjuring up negative emotions that's bringing this event about? Did any thoughts or conversations, or did I watch a movie, or a television show, or listen to music that could have created this? Or did I even joke about something, and it created this? If you're saying no, well, then that's when it comes time to know, let it go and be present. There are many, many possibilities as to why certain things show up in your life. And you have to realize that you're going to experience those moments that don't always feel so pleasant. They're not always negative, though, for showing up in your life. You may be able to journal on it and ask, is there something that I'm unaware of? Is there, a deep-rooted limiting belief that I need, help shifting out? But if you consistently get a no answer, or just a moment of blankness, that's what I call the let it go and be present time. And I've been saying this quite a bit this month. So sometimes these events, they are manifestations that you created a year or more ago. And I talked about this when I taught about I created this. When things show up, you still have to go through it, but you just simply say, okay, I created this, and this too shall pass. I was listening to Abraham Hicks, which you're going to hear another quote from, so it seems to be my Abraham quote day. But I was listening to a tape where they were saying, if you imagine having a car parked at the top of the hill in San Francisco, they have those deep, steep my southern accent was about ready to come on out, wasn't it? The hills, not heels, but the steep roads. If you realize the car moving wasn't what you intended, and it's at the top of the hill, and you get in front of it, and you're a bigger person than I am, you could stop the car. Or cart, let's say golf cart. But they said car. And you could probably stop it, and it's much easier. Now, if it gets that momentum going down the hill, and you're at the bottom of the hill, and you're like, oh my gosh, the bay is right here. I don't want this going there. If you stand in the way of it, you're just going to get pushed into the bay with it. You need to just step out of the way and let the experience happen. So at the beginning of something, if you catch it fast enough, you can shift it out. And I'll explain how momentarily. But if it's already got that momentum going, the energy vibration is already behind it, you're almost through it. Again, I'm always reminded of that country song, if you're going through hell, keep on moving so the devil doesn't know you're there, right? If it's already got that momentum, step out of the way and let it go. I created this too shall pass. No worries. If I can create that, I can create something better. Number 2, pruning to bring growth. And there's a verse in the Bible, and I didn't think about it. I should have looked it up so that I could tell you which one. It's in the New Testament in the Gospels. And Jesus always used analogies, which is why Jesus is my dude, because I love analogies. So I can hang 10 with analogies. He talked about, I am the vine dresser and you are the vines. And, and it talks about, or it's at least expounded on in a lot of preachers, that vines, for them to grow, they have to be pruned so that you get the bigger grapes. So it's not a negative thing. And if you ever seen pruned vines, they look horrible. But then they grow in and they get these big grapes and they look fantastic. So if you start noticing loss of friends, loss of jobs, loss of clients, and you don't have fear that's bringing all these losses about, what would happen if this person left me, that type of thing. How would I support myself if I lost these jobs, these clients, this income, this business, any of those things, that's fear that needs to be shifted out. That's limiting beliefs. But if you don't have any of that, and you didn't create it a year ago, you can't recall anything, jokes or anything that would have brought this about, then it's pruning. It's clearing that out for something better to come along. Your desires have that momentum accelerating because you're noticing things more and more. And that's just like back to that car. So now your car is accelerating down the hill. Things start happening faster and faster. And pruning will happen. Let's take friends, for example. You want to be in a place where, good example, I hang out many times, or have in the past, various charity events on Palm Beach Island. And I love going to charity events. I like supporting them. I like the environment. I love meeting new people. And I took some friends to an event. Now, these friends did not get pruned out, but this is an example. Going to these events, I invited, just a whole bunch of people. Well, one of my friends was so uncomfortable they couldn't stay. They had to leave. They didn't feel that was their quote-unquote environment was accepting of them, which we all know that it's not the environment not being accepting of them, it's them not feeling comfortable or accepting of them in that environment. So if you start shifting to a different environment where people you've been hanging out with aren't necessarily comfortable, then they might shift out as your desires start coming, because you need to be at these events. You need to be going to networking. If you own a business, you're working late hours. So people with jobs don't always understand, well, why aren't you coming to the bar and hanging out? Why aren't you coming to said event? In the beginning of a business, you've got tons to do. In the middle, and as you've been in the business for quite some time, go hang out with your friends. Get that balance. So the pruning is that acceleration of the momentum. It's a positive. It doesn't always feel positive, but it's a positive. Giving your faith muscle a workout. And this is actually in the book of James. They talk about this in the Bible. I'll show you my faith by my works. Even though the Bible clearly states that your faith is not based off works. And in manifestation, what you bring about is not based on what you do, but the faith or the belief system that you have. However, many times this type of event is due by our own mouth, our own prayer, our own asking, and we don't think it through necessarily. And what do I mean by that? So, have you ever asked to be stronger in your believing, or stronger in your faith, or stronger in trusting the manifesting process? Don't do that. Because these events come about to make you put you in a situation or a scenario where you have to hold steadfast and hold strong to believing that this is going to work. This is going to work. I believe this is going to work, right? It's like asking for patience. I always say, no, I don't need to ask for patience. I am very grateful for the patience that I have. Because when I've asked for patience, or I've watched other people ask for patience, they're stuck waiting for something they really desire, or they are in a rush and traffic gets backed up. So be careful what you ask for, because you will get it. So anytime you pray for believing or having a stronger faith or trust in the process, then you will actually find yourself in a scenario where everything, what we call all hell breaking loose, as my grandmother used to say, that everything seems to go wrong because it's strengthening your believing in the process. Ask, and God and universe says, your wish is my command. You want to be stronger? Let's give your muscles of believing a workout. Thanks, but no thanks. I'll hit the gym. I'll just know that I trust in the process. Always remember that energy flows where attention goes. So when these events come up, whether it is something you've created, pruning, a faith muscle workout, even if it's limiting beliefs and things like that, you still want to journal on, everything as to, how do I need to shift? Do I need to change? If you're an empath like me, the question is this my energy? Am I experiencing my own energy and my own thoughts, my own feelings? So the problem with happens is your reaction or other people's reaction tend to cause more harm than good. not necessarily harm, but pay attention. Let me show you. So let's cover your reaction. So something happens. You have a friend, that was your best friend for years, and all of a sudden they're not talking to you anymore. Okay, you've decided and figured out you haven't done anything wrong. You've reached out to the person to say, hey, can we talk? And they've had no response. Whatever it is, you've gone through the list. You didn't create it. You didn't have fear on it. So what do? Your reaction is, well, if you shift your energy into a reaction of negativity, you focus too long on the why. Notice I said too long. I don't mind the every now and then going, why is this happening? But I usually get right off of it because it then tends to lead into why me. And that's victimhood. We're not victims on this planet. Depression, anger, fear, worry, all those are energies that are very low vibration. And what you're doing, where I say it causes more harm, is you're creating more of it and you're extending the experience. More friends will leave. You won't, because you'll start shifting to, oh, what if I lose this many friends? Am I going to be alone? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to extend that experience. You're going to extend the time of you not shifting to the something better coming along. You shut down or you shift to being overwhelmed. I just can't take it. That's more victimhood. And that's also more of extending the experience. Label it or judge it. Judge it as negative, bad. The story, I can't remember if it was Lao Tzu or if it was in Buddha's teachings. I get them all blended and mixed up. But it says the story of... the son is out with, a farmer's son is out with a horse. The horse bucks him and breaks his legs. The neighbors say, oh, that's bad. And he says, why is that bad? And then the army comes in town and takes all the young men. They don't take the young boy because he has a broken leg. The neighbor says, that's good. Why is that good? So not judging it as good or bad. Labeling it. So the first time I started losing weight, I said, oh, I'm going to name my fat, as a joke, because I have a very off-the-wall sense of humor. And a friend of mine says, don't label it. Anything you name stays. She's like, think of stray animals. The moment you name them, they're yours. So don't label it. Don't judge it, because it will stick and stay. And that's not what your desire is. Unless it is, but I doubt it. So I said I was quoting Abraham Hicks quite a bit today. So the reason is I also posted a video because I watched a YouTube video this morning. I had written up this script last night, tried it over the weekend, and it just wasn't flowing out. And I think it's because I was looking outside myself for definitions and explanations to make sure I covered the topic. But the words that I kept getting during my journal time was, you already have the topic within you. So I finally paid attention because I am a slow learner. And so I wrote it out last night, Monday night. And then this morning, Tuesday morning, I ended up listening to one of Abraham Hicks' teachings on 17 seconds to manifestation. Because after I wrote about it, I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't listened to that for a while. So I posted that video to our Facebook group. So if you're in the group, go and check it out. But Abraham Hicks teaches 17 seconds to manifest. And basically, the bottom line of that teaching, which you should still listen to it, but the bottom line is focusing on anything in the right high energy vibration for 17 seconds can shift the manifestation. Your reaction to an event. Keep this in mind when something starts happening. Stop and take 17 seconds and focus on a new perspective of the event, is what I wrote. And basically, using Abraham Hicks, 17 seconds. Now, the teaching, just so you understand, I just want to make sure I'm good on time. Actually, I'm great on time. Woo! But the teaching, so you understand it, is if you close and mentally picture. So, Live Joy today, we have these pillows, right? So I want to visualize, woohoo, I got a sale. Do you notice that? My vibration goes up. I'm visualizing the sale coming in, my phone cha-chings. Ooh, I got another sale. Oh my gosh, another sale. Oh, I can't wait to get that one shipped out. And you stay in that excited energy, mental visual picturing for 17 seconds is the theory or the teaching of Abraham Hicks. So now, if we stop and pay attention to our emotions, if we keep in tune with how we're feeling most of the time, it's not like you're going to stop every second of the day and understand how you're feeling. But if you notice a shift in how your emotions are, your energy, if it starts going down, you want to tap into this. If events start happening and you start noticing it and your energy goes to negative feelings, judging, labeling, or having feelings of overwhelmness, then think of this 17 seconds. So find a different narrative, a different outcome, or perspective of it. And I posted a long article in the Facebook group where a freelance designer, graphic designer, had received a call from a client that was a long-standing client that said they will no longer need her services because they now have an in-house art director. And the person said, well, the way I looked at it is that call came and said they have way more work than they actually needed and they will be continuing using my services. So she said within a certain amount of time, they ended up calling her with the largest graphic design work they'd ever given her before. And so that's changing the narrative, right? Seeing a different outcome is rewriting the outcome as well. My friend left. Excuse me. My friend left. They're not talking to me anymore. You know what? They've gone away on vacation. I have another friend that has shown up, and this is where I need to be instead. So a different outcome would be they're on vacation. They're no longer. That's kind of a denial, but it temporarily works until you shift to a positive, and you only need 17 seconds of it. Different perspective is something better is coming, right? So hold the positive thought, narrative, outcome visually and release it, and make sure you have that energy, with it. And if you don't, start off just taking yourself through meditative, visually seeing, that there's a different outcome, life is good, whatever. And then you'll notice your energy vibration goes up. 17 seconds doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it is if you've never done it before. I will do this in my car rides. A lot of people are like, no, you need to pay attention to the road, except I have dual purpose brain here. I watch television while I code and work most of the day. So while I'm driving, I'm imagining, my pillows are sold, orders are coming in. And so whatever it is, after the 17 seconds, release it. Move forward with whatever tasks are at hand in present moment. And that's what I mean by stay present. Because a lot of times these things come up as an interruption. So get right back to whatever it was you were doing. If you don't have anything, some people, Esther Hicks and Tasha Chan teaches go take a nap. Maybe taking a walk might not be well unless you do the present walking, which is you're going out for a walk and you just pay attention to what's outside instead of getting in your head. And that's how you deal with your own reactions. Now, how to deal with other people's reactions. So when other people hear about things that are going on in your life and they're looking in and seeing the same events, it's so inviting to join them in on the complaining, the judging, or the labeling. Well, that's not fair. You shouldn't have to deal with that. That person shouldn't have left you. That person should be grateful for you. It's a trap. Don't fall for it. It feels so soothing, so comforting. See, they see it. No, they're just reflecting what you see. Don't fall for it. It's only going to feed the wrong energy, and guess what? Keeps you in that mode and extends it out. Don't fall for it. See other people's reactions instead as an opportunity to feed the positive. Oh, you should, that person shouldn't have left you. You're such a good person. They should have been grateful to have you in their life. You know what? I'm okay. I'm a likable, lovable person, and I have many other friends who bless my life, and I'm just going to, bless them and wish them well and pray that they get all that they seek and desire in this world. So it allows you to change the narrative, not to someone, just to someone else, but you're speaking it out and you're hearing it at the same time. Double. Yay. It's also an opportunity for you to be an example to them on how to react when life tosses you some interesting experiences, because people are paying attention to you. You may start talking about this law of manifestation thing, but it's no different than when you tell people you're trying to lose weight. They're watching you. Is her dress size going down? Is she eating? You notice you go get that extra bite of cake that you get that side eye. She's on a diet, right? So this is your opportunity to show them, wow, look how she's handling that. Wow, that's a different way to respond. I don't know if I could do that. Or, hey, how is it that you're able to respond this way? And then you can share, I have faith that all is going to work out well, right? Okay, I told you, still watching time, that my life being the example just for you, just to teach you. So April has been a very unusual month for me. In fact, I don't recall this ever happening in the entire history of Webmaster for Hire as a business. We have been experiencing a number of cancellations of monthly clients, and that is a decrease of projected income each month. Excuse me, still have this tickle in my throat. So how do I choose to react? I choose to smile and realize it's positive. And it didn't happen all at once. It was spread out throughout the entire month. So, client 1, my initial reaction when they canceled was they cost me so much extra work each month to do their tasks due to the nature of the way they built their website that it saves me frustration and energy each month now that they've shifted and moved out. So that cost was $75 a month. However, I don't have to bring the site down to local, do the updates, make sure nothing breaks, then re-upload it, and do like everybody else's site where I can do things remotely. So the first client, the initial reaction was relief. Client number 2, the initial reaction was gratitude or thanksgiving. They buy a list for emails, and they send out an email which is unwanted email. So it's loaded with spam to unknowing, arrivals. And every time they did that, it bogged down our web servers. And we were constantly watching our server. And so I was very grateful when they moved to a cheaper host. And it's fantastic because my servers have had 0 problems since they've left. Okay, so that was $100 a month, but I'm okay with it because it's less time for me and my programmers and server folks to check on everything and keep us up late at night. And it does affect other sites on the server, so that one was great. The third one, my initial reaction was surprise. I'm going to be very honest. This is a client that I have worked with for a number of years, and we have done amazing work for them. They're getting results. At the beginning of the year, they had some slowdown of results, but they were coming back and they were getting the leads that they were desiring, and everything was there. The reason they gave that they left is they had a vendor who had given them an exclusivity deal where they had to take their web and their marketing over to that vendor to get that discount. So it was a business decision. And the mind says, well, that's easy to understand. But the heart, when you've worked for someone so long, so I opted to just promptly shoot them an email, just simply stating, you know what, after so many years, I'm very surprised by this and with such short notice, but I still wish you the best, just to the owner. And then I sent a list of a schedule of, okay, on this date, I'll give you all the access to this, this, and this. And on this date, by your request, I'll shut down this, and this, so that they're prepared as to what I'll be doing when. And once again, I'm surprised by this. However, I do wish you the best. And I do. I really do. But the moment I sent that, before I sent the second email, and I was still in a bit of a surprise, all of a sudden, after a day of amazing grace and blessings, before that email, after that email, while I was in a state of shock, all of a sudden someone emailed, our site went down, we're checking with the host, not sure what's going on, can you look into it? Another person, exact same time, I kid you not, I'm on a training and her live site on WordPress.com went down. All of the sites on WordPress.com went down last week. So so I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, oh. So I stopped, remembering my 17 seconds, and I gave myself a moment of positiveness. I'll go to the beach in my mind. I'll see new money coming in. I pick up my I keep it on my desk at all times. I'll pick up and slowly read my my affirmation book on money, and just remember that this is all very true. And I'll stop on one that will make sense to me, and I keep it on my desk by my computer at all times. 17 seconds of positive focus. The moment, I kid you not, within 5 minutes of finishing that, every issue subsided. WordPress.com had emailed her saying, no, we're down, we're having technical difficulties. So they were fixed by the next day. No skin off our nose, we got things done and moving along. The other person, it was just a hiccup on the server. The server folks said they've already checked everything, everything's fine. We double checked everything, all was well. Everything that started going wrong just shifted right back. I didn't focus any further after I sent the second email in positive joy, and then I didn't think about it again. I shifted back to, I have this task, this task, this task. Remember, it's an interruption. It doesn't mean I have to hold on to it. It can come in and go out just as fast. And I stayed present and I stayed focused on the tasks at hand. And that's what it means to be present. Now, the interesting thing is, on a car ride home, I was reminded of an astrology reading I had done in December of 2017. And it was said that there was something that was going to be removed that didn't feel good, but it was for my own good. And it had to go for something greater to come along. She said Pluto was in my 10th house, something like that. And she couldn't tell me what it was, but I said, well, get that dog out of here. Actually, what I said was, keep your hands off my dad, keep your hands off my cat. After that, I didn't care. But, excuse me, had I not released the emotional attachment and the negativity, I wouldn't have been free to receive that message on my car ride home when I wasn't even thinking about it. That was the reminder of the reading that something better is coming along. And even though that's a $2,000 a month client, yes, you heard me correctly, I feel great. I feel good that they're going to be fine, and I feel good that I'm going to be fine. And I haven't thought twice about it. I've done the tasks on the dates that I stated I would, because I've always believed that you help people into your business and you help people out of your business with graciousness. And I always try and keep humility in that, oh, well, they're not doing it. I just can't go there. And I've actually had many clients return because I have helped them and I have kept that higher integrity as possible as I can. I'm still human. Doesn't mean my mind doesn't always go to, well, you know? But that's why we're doing tonight's teaching. Client number 4. So my reaction initially was, okay. When I saw who they were going to, again, it was hosting. This was a different hosting type project. The company they were shifting to is in the same building that they're in. And they're a lower budget web company than I am. They deal with the smaller budget clients. And this was a $50 a month client. So, okay. Client number 5. Can I tell you, I've never had this before. I have been in business since 2001. So, client number 5. Initial reaction, totally agree. I love this client. I adore him and his wife. And they have been long-standing clients. Actually, several of these have been long-standing clients that I really appreciated, the people and the individuals. But my price packaging and their needs and their budgets, they're not the same. And it makes sense for them to be going with a cost-effective solution. And that was a $13.95 a month client. They billed annually, so it was $167.40 a month, $167.40. So 5 clients leave. I have kept positive about it. I have not shifted to anything. I've stayed present and I let it go, right? Or actually let it go and stay present. But my lead programmer, Brad, kept getting this note from me that this client is no longer with us. Client number 2 is no longer with us. Client number 3 is no longer with us because they all dealt with server issues, and or they were on our servers. We weren't doing updates for them. They were moving out. So if you get notice that the name server's changed, it's okay. It's like I said, it's highly uncommon for us to have so many switch at once. And so he shot me a Skype message, and I didn't copy it exactly, so it's only sort of. He can copy and paste it in if he wants. But he's like, your April has been tough. And I'm like, why? He says, you've had 5 clients leave. I'm like, no, April's been a great month. I no longer have a server bogged down. I have freed up extra work that wasn't realized when the monthly billing was set up because they should have been charged a whole heck of a lot more, and I think they know it. I have 2 low-budget clients that have cleared out and making room for new higher-budget clients to come in. Additionally, I've had major site launches. I have all the funds for my Maze lease for my office. I have all my other bills that are owed, fulfilled, and paid. I have another client in design. I met last week, actually the last 2 weeks, I have met some extraordinary people that I would love to work with and give them my attention to work on their projects in design and marketing. And I have the time right now to focus on the products of Live Joy Today. I added the pillows into the website. I got the manifesting affirmation book finally added in to the site. And now I can, take some time to create some videos for them, showcasing them as products. So I've had a really great month for April, and I'm totally looking forward to May. I always am reminded of the Bible verse from Matthew 6:34 from the New King James Version. This one I remembered to look up. And it says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. I always leave that last part off because that's a negative thought. I just say to myself, you know what? I don't need to worry about tomorrow. Today's the day that I need to focus on. Staying present. Stay the course. Keep your energy vibrations high. And remember what Abraham Hicks teaches in the 17 seconds to manifest. And then for this teaching, remember, let go and be present. Go through that checklist that it isn't something that you brought about and just say, oh, I created this. Make sure that it's possibly pruning. These clients have been pruning. I love each one. I'm excited for each one. I send each one off in joy and well wishes. But I'm also excited to see what shows up in May. So I'd like to stop being your coach in the regards of living the lesson before I teach it. Or can we only teach the lessons on getting everything? I don't mind. I need the pruning just like everybody else, and it's a good thing. It's a positive. And if you're going to label it that. And remember, we're going to do these teachings, but we're going to do them recorded each month. And I'm going to upload them to both the group, YouTube. We'll get them out on the podcast when those are ready. This week, there's no strategies or techniques. It's pretty much it. And there's no take or see action. Just pay attention. So just one video in the playlist this time. And we came in under an hour. Woohoo! Alrighty, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night and week. And I will see you next week with next week's lesson. Bye. Be joyful.